So what is the perfect morning routine? And more importantly, can it actually make a difference? These are questions that I have often asked myself in my quest for performance optimization. As I try to balance my career working in a large corporation as a lawyer with exercise, working on this YouTube channel, and just life generally. And I've tried reading productivity books, the 5 a.m. club, even meditating in the dark, but nothing has ever really stuck. But this time, I thought I would turn to neuroscience. And for 7 days, I followed Stanford professor, brain expert, and podcaster extraordinaire Andrew Huberman's morning routine protocol, which is based around a routine that is backed by actual brain science. And in this video, I will set out exactly what this routine involves and how I got on with trying it. So I'm sure a lot of you will already be familiar with Andrew Huberman, but for those of you who aren't, Andrew Huberman is a Stanford professor and neuroscientist who is probably best known now for his world-famous podcast, The Huberman Lab, where he breaks down how brain science can really help us to improve our focus, performance, and well-being, amongst other things. And what I think is particularly unique about his morning routine is that it's not just self-help fluff, it is really grounded in how our biology actually works. So here is what the morning routine actually involves, and these are the exact steps that I followed for a week. So number one is to wake up at the same time every day. And for Huberman, he says that this is around 6 to 6:30 a.m. And the main reason for doing this centers around how our brain has a natural body clock. And this is what is called the circadian rhythm. And so waking up at the same time each day is said to help anchor this circadian rhythm. And so over time, it makes it easier for you to fall asleep and then wake up at that same time with a lot more energy than you would otherwise have. Number two, get early morning sunlight, and Huberman recommends trying to do this within 30 to 60 minutes of waking. And natural light in the morning is said to signal to our brain that it's time to be awake by enhancing the release of the hormones cortisol and epinephrine, and also by suppressing melatonin, which is the hormone that promotes sleep. As well as all of that, early light exposure also boosts serotonin production, which is a hormone that improves our mood and energy levels throughout the day. Number three is to do physical activity early. And I think we all know the benefits of exercise, but doing it early in particular is said to help improve energy levels and mood, help with focus, and also to help promote a good night's sleep at the end of the day. Number four is to delay your caffeine intake by ideally around 90 to 120 minutes after waking. And doing this is said to allow adenosine, which is the chemical that makes you sleepy, to naturally clear out in the morning. And so by doing that, it should allow you to have a heightened sense of alertness throughout the day. Number five is to try to avoid your phone or social media for the first hour after waking. And the idea really here is that in a world of distractions where it's easy for our brains to be hijacked first thing by all sorts of stress or information overload from our phones or social media. And so by avoiding doing these things, we help to keep our minds in a more calm, proactive state and set ourselves up better for the day ahead. And finally, number six is cold exposure. And this helps to increase dopamine. And Huberman says that these dopamine spikes can actually last for quite prolonged periods of time. As well as that, there's also the theory that doing hard things like cold exposure can help to build mental resilience. So this obviously sounds very good all in theory, but how did I actually get along with each of these steps? So firstly, waking up at the same time every day. And for me, I usually have a pretty consistent schedule in the week, but then not so consistent at the weekend. But I decided to set my wake up time pretty much the same as Andrew Huberman at 6:30 a.m. And so the first couple of days after the weekend, I did find it a little bit challenging. And I was finding that I was feeling a little bit groggy when I was waking up, and like I probably could have stayed in bed longer than I did. But as the week actually started to go on, I did feel like I was getting into more of a routine with it all and more of a rhythm. And I do actually think that my sleep quality was really improving throughout the week. And by the end of the week, I was definitely finding it a lot easier to get out of bed in the mornings. So overall, I was a fan of this one and could definitely see the benefit of it. The only thing I would say is that I think to really get the benefit of this routine, you also do need to be trying to go to sleep around the same time each night to make sure that you actually are getting a sufficient amount of time in bed asleep. So number two is trying to get early sunlight, and this is actually the number one thing that Andrew Huberman recommends. If you watch enough of him, you will see how often he talks about this.
Light viewing early in the day is the most powerful stimulus for wakefulness throughout the day, and it has a powerful positive impact on your ability to fall and stay asleep at night.
And how many benefits he say can come from getting early morning sunlight. But to be honest, I'm not really sure how I found this one, just because it is quite hard to see whether you actually are getting any tangible benefits from it. I mean, I definitely didn't feel worse doing it, and it was quite nice getting some fresh air in the morning, and maybe it did help to clear my mind a little bit, but I can't say that I really noticed any particular benefits from this routine. I would, however, say that I've looked into this one a little bit more, and the data actually is quite compelling around getting early morning sunlight, and so maybe it is one that you just need to trust actually is working and is doing you good. Number 3 is physical activity, and so for me throughout this week I did a mixture of running and weight training, and I tried to do these bouts of exercise about 30 to 45 minutes after waking. And so in terms of the running, I really loved running first thing, and I really do feel like it gave me a lot more energy throughout the day, and I felt like I was just going into work more focused and more positive, and generally just felt more at ease and like I could handle the day a lot better by doing the running first thing. In terms of the days when I did weight training, I didn't quite get the same effects as the days where I ran. And I think that's probably just because I wasn't quite getting my heart rate up as high and just generally wasn't kind of sweating and getting those endorphins flowing quite as much as compared to the days that I was running. But I definitely did also feel good from doing the weight training and feel like it did still give me a nice boost for the rest of the day. And also from a practical perspective, I did really like getting my exercise done for the day early because it just meant that it was done, and then it meant that I had more time in the evenings to do some of the other things that I wanted to do. So number 4 is around delaying caffeine, and I'll be honest, at first this one almost felt a little bit illegal because I definitely am someone that is used to inhaling their caffeine almost before their eyes have even opened. But what I did notice with this one almost instantly is that the caffeine, it almost felt stronger by me waiting a little bit longer to have it, and I did feel like I was getting heightened effects from the caffeine and that I was almost getting this more prolonged period of alertness, which was really nice. I also did find that I wasn't getting any afternoon crashes, which is something I don't generally get too badly, but is something I sometimes get, so that was nice as well. And I think overall, it did just seem like this was another one that did work and ultimately is one that I'm a fan of. Number 5 was the no phone or social media, and this was another one that did hurt to start with, as I am typically used to waking up and immediately scrolling through my emails, WhatsApp, Instagram, LinkedIn, BBC News, just all the essentials that you need to start your day calmly and in a complete state of panic. And to be honest, this is another one where it is slightly difficult to say how much benefit it was having, but what I would say is that I definitely did find that there was something quite calming about not getting blasted with information overload first thing, and I think I did find it actually easier to get into a flow with work and not to be so distracted in the first couple of hours of the day. It did also highlight to me just how tied to my phone I am, which is something that I don't really like, and so it's another one where I think it can only really be a good thing to do. And finally, the 6th routine was cold exposure, and so for me throughout the week, what I did was a full-on cold plunge for 3 minutes on the days that I did weight training at the gym, as the gym that I go to do have a cold plunge, and then on the other days where I wasn't at the gym, I just tried to do a 1 to 2 minute cold shower. And I'm not gonna lie, it does kind of suck as you're doing it, as it is almost just like voluntary suffering, and it also doesn't get any easier as the week goes on. But almost annoyingly, what I found is that it really did work, as I really did feel like I got sort of a rush of energy and almost clarity straight afterwards, and I did just feel very good always from doing it. So did this routine change my life? Not quite. But I did feel a bit sharper, calmer, and generally a bit more in control of my emotions. And more than anything, I think it did make my mornings feel more intentional instead of just being reactive. And if I'm being honest, I think I am going to try and keep doing pretty much all of these things as consistently as I can. And so if you're in a high pressure job or just looking to feel better in the mornings, I really would recommend just picking 1 or 2 of these protocols to start with and try giving them a go for yourself and see whether you notice any difference. I hope you found this video useful. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.